Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. See that?
Yes, we got it.
Okay, good. Okay, I do know that there were a lot of comments this evening. We'll try to capture those. Actually, I'm going to have Laura speak right after me, Deputy City Administrator Reams, and talk a little bit about our new program that we've just launched. But we do want to try to address some of those. So I will capture those in our next city administrator update, those that we are in a position to respond to. And then just correct some things as well, just so that the public has clear information. Okay, so I'm just going to go with the first slide, which is the agenda. Okay, so again, I'm going to turn right over to Laura to do the worldly launch, and then we have a new officer and a few other things that we'll discuss. This is last week was National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. That's for our dispatchers. And this week is National Volunteer Week. So it's also Administrative Professionals Week. So if you have administrators, administrative staff, and secretarial staff that work for you, please make sure that you shout them out this week. Okay, Laura, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about Worldly.
Okay, thanks so much. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and members of the community. So tonight we're really excited because we're taking, I think, a big leap forward in accessibility for our council meetings and in the future community meetings and even events. So we are launching the use of Wordly, which is an AI-powered interpretation, translation, closed captioning system. So this will provide live translation over 50 languages. So there's a huge selection there, which we are very excited about it, and captioning for our city council meetings. It is very easy to use. So we have instructions on here. And if you were in the waiting room before you joined this meeting, we also had this slide up there for folks to see before they join the meeting. It is also printed on every council agenda and also available on the website as well. So how you use it, you can visit the web address that is on the slide here, or you can even scan the QR code, which will take you directly to Wordly's page. And then you choose your language that you would like to follow the meeting along. You can also listen via audio as well. And that's pretty much it. You hit attend and there you go. We have been testing this out for a little bit. We've tried it at a community meeting, had good success. And then at our last meeting, we actually had council member Sandino helping us trial it out and a couple members of staff as well. So it's been pretty good for us. We're obviously open to any feedback from folks as they use it, but we think this is going to be a great step in terms of making our council meetings more accessible in the future. And we hope that you guys try it and like it. I'll turn it back over to you, Tracy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I just want to applaud Laura, Cindy, the comms team for really working hard on getting this up and running. I think this is going to be a huge help, and it's also going to help us capture all the comments and things that you all are most interested in. But more importantly, it will open up a breadth of opportunities for people who don't speak, who English is not their first language. Okay. Let's see what happened here. Okay, so I do just want to welcome one of our newest members of the police team. We're really happy to welcome Brian Jose Hernandez Gonzalez. The mayor had the opportunity to swear him in just about a month ago. He was raised in Hyattsville. He joined the Department of Corrections in 2019, where he refined his skills and ability to respond under stress. He was also part of the Contraband Detection Specialized Task Force while there. Brian then joined Prince George's County Police Department in 2023 and then came to Hyattsville in 25. He is eager to give back to the community that shaped him, and we're really happy to have him as part of the team. Okay, and then we also want to welcome K9 Forrest. Many of you remember our previous K9 Knox who passed away. So Forrest replaces Knox. Trevor Hodges graduated from the 16-week K9 school with his new partner, Forrest. And, again, it was difficult with the passing of Knox, but we're really glad to have a new dog, a new K9, a new partner. He's certified in tracking, article searches, building and area searches, Corporal Quevedo also attended and received an assistant instructor certification. So we're excited that we now have an instructor, canine instructor on the team. Okay, we had a coffee with the cop. That was over there at the Hyattsville crossing area in the metro station. This is one of the first times we joined with the Metro Police Transit Police Department. So we had about 20 officers from the agencies that joined and just stopped and talked to people and just let them know we're here for them and see how we can help. All right, and as I mentioned, it is National Public Telecommunications Week, and that's our dispatchers. We have 10 dispatchers who really work hard, several shifts, several days, 7 days a week. They are always on their job, rain and shine, but they really do provide the calm voice on the other end when there's chaos and frustration and concerns, and they take care of our officers, giving them really good, clear feedback of what to do and where to be. So we just want to acknowledge our public telecommunications officers. We did buy them lunch and dinner all week. Everyone just kind of contributed out of their pocket to treat them. We had some business roundtables, and we had another one just recently. That was at Marley's Bar and Grill. That was really a nice event. Very nice turnout. We had 15 businesses that were new. So we're excited about seeing new businesses come out and support. We had some really good speakers. We thank Renee Harris for the work that she does, her and Jeff for bringing these to fruition. They talked about business taxes, commercial leases, which a lot of people struggle with, and then financial support to our small businesses. So that went really well. And Renee is also out and about visiting new businesses, just making sure that we can check in, see how they're doing, see if there's anything they need from us, and just making sure they have all of our contact information. Hyattsville in Bloom just passed. That was last weekend before. 150 children and their families. This is another rained in weekend. They've had rain about I think the last 3 years. Sandra could correct me on that, but I think for the last 3 years. But the good news is they've adjusted. If you look at those pictures down in the middle, look at the crowd that came out, and they just had all kinds of fun, lots of crafts and interactive shows, and it was just a really good event. They all went home with goodie bags. And spring camp, today's the last day, so we just want to remind everyone that the staff and the campers worked together for the last 6 days, actually. And they did all kinds of, they just played and had a good time, and some educational activities as well. So we thank the staff. When a lot of people are getting to take vacations and go off with their young ones, the staff stays back and makes sure that there's a camp. So those parents and caretakers who have to work are able to do that. And Aging and Wellness also had a good turnout this month. For the last 2 weeks, they took a lot of trips. They went to Dutch Market and Walmart. They played some board games. And then they had a really good session at our Lunch and Learn on Medicare benefits. If you look at that picture down in the middle, is a really good turnout. Our seniors learned a lot. So we appreciate the work that community service is doing to outreach to our seniors and to our young people. Here are some of the weekly offerings that we have going on. We've got the seated exercise class for older adults. That's on Wednesdays from 10 to 11. And then we've got the Zumba class. That's also free from 4 to 5 on Wednesdays. That class is growing, actually. We have digital literacy and instruction. Again, this is what we started after COVID, when we realized that so many people just really needed to understand more about how to use computers and you do FaceTime and all kinds of other things that some of our seniors just didn't have experience doing. All right, we've got a few committee meetings coming up over the next 2 weeks, so I'm just going to go through those quickly. We've got the Ethics Commission meeting. That's on Tuesday the 22nd. Race and Equity Task Force is on April 22nd as well at 7. Health and Wellness Recreation Advisory Committee, April 24th. Age Friendly Work Group meeting, that's on Friday the 25th at 11. Education Advisory Committee meeting, that's an in-person meeting. That's going to be on the 28th at 6:30. And Educational Facilities and Committee meeting is on Wednesday the 30th. Some of our upcoming events: Teen Ceramic Workshops coming up on the 23rd, Seniors on the Go on the 24th, Hyattsville Life and Times Candidate Forum with all the potential candidates running for office in Hyattsville. That's on Thursday the 24th, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Got another diaper distribution on Friday the 25th. Drug Take Back is on Saturday to the 26th. The Anniversary Festival on this Saturday, the 26th. Residential parking permits. This is for Group 2, zones 2, 6, and 9A, as well as 13. Those parking permits expire today, so that's on the 30th. Please make sure you come get those permits. And then Teen Center Financial Literacy Clinic. That's going to be on April 30th as well. And let's see, upcoming events. We've got the renewal for residential parking permits for zones 1, 8, 10, and 11. That starts on May 1st. Care Partner Support Group, Friday, May 2nd. Early Voting Day in Hyattsville. That is on Saturday the 3rd. Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Heritage Month pop-up event. That's also on the 3rd. That's on a Saturday. And public hearing for the FY26 real property tax rate is on Monday, May 5th. That's the next council meeting. So we'll do that public hearing right before the council meeting. And I think that is all I have. So I will stop share. And if you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer those.
Thank you, Ms. Douglas. Colleagues, questions or comments? Mr. Harper?
Yes, I do not have any specific question for Ms. Douglas, but I did have a question. I don't know if the chief is on or not, or if Ms. Douglas might be able to address this. We heard from a few residents regarding the arrest of the city resident and the press release that was put out by HPD called either Mr. Douglas or Chief Towers, I see he's here, explain how the county police got involved with that arrest, just to clear the air and make sure that everyone has the same understanding and to dissipate any miscommunication or misunderstanding around the topic. Thank you.
Ms. Douglas, the chief?
Oh, yes. Chief, are you on?
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. So I caught the tail end of that question. I think it's how PGPD got involved. Okay.
Yeah.
So before I start, I just want to highlight the fact that while we all know this was 6 years ago, the detective that initiated the stop is no longer employed with Hyattsville. He left in good standing in September of 2020 to take a different job and relocate his family. He would have most likely still been employed had he not chosen to do so. With that being said, he was, the reason that he called PGPD was because he had information about an ongoing MS-13 involved homicide investigation that had occurred in the county. If you take a look at PGPD's website in their newsroom and you look at the release that they put out last week, down below that, there is a link for every calendar year. And if you click on 2019 and you go to March, there's then a break. Once you click on the year, there's a breakdown for each month. If you look at those months, you can see all the press releases that are put out by PGPD in sequential order. You'll see that just the weeks leading up to this particular stop, there were 2 violent homicides within Prince George's County, one where a body of the victim was transported down to Stafford County, Virginia. Those homicides were the detective that stopped the 4 gentlemen at the Home Depot was aware of these homicide investigations and was very familiar with the ongoing MS-13 activity in the county. After this stop, he identified one of those individuals as a known MS-13 gang member who's, I almost said a name, excuse me, I'm speaking too freely, but he immediately recognized that person as someone who's a known gang member to law enforcement within the community at that time. Contacted PGPD because of that ongoing homicide investigation, and the PGPD gang unit came out to speak with those individuals, and that is why he notified PGPD, because of an ongoing homicide investigation, and that is also why I believe he didn't charge any of the individuals there with possession of marijuana, because at that point in time, when there was a nexus to a homicide, obviously that became the most important factor. PGPD decided that they were going to take all of those individuals back to their station for further questioning as it relates to that homicide.
Thank you, Mr. Towers. Mr. Harper, is that enough?
Yes, thank you, Chief. I think that helps make the connection why PGPD was involved. Because in Hyattsville, we don't investigate homicide. Whenever there's homicide, that is automatically referred to the county for further processing. So, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And I do want to remind everyone that we do not ask about immigration status. That is, we absolutely respect that the decision that was made by this council that we all support. So we do not ask about immigration status when we make stops.
Thank you. Ms. Wasak?
I have a follow-on question for Chief. I don't know if I missed something, but I didn't see in any of the paperwork that I reviewed that ICE was called on the day of the arrest in 2019. What I do know about is a gang field interview sheet that PGPD has, and I don't think that we have that same type of paperwork at Hyattsville City Police Department. And so I wondered if you could talk a little bit about that, whatever it is that you know about that. Was ICE called and I just missed that in the paperwork? And also, do we use the gang field interview sheet as part of our regular procedures in any way?
No, ma'am. So we don't have a gang field interview sheet, nor do we have any other report that is just for gang activity or tracking gang activity. We have what are called field interview reports, which is basically any interaction that an officer has that it's not a crime. So, for example, if there's if a Hyattsville resident calls and says that there's someone walking around their neighbor's house and an officer goes out and interacts with that person and finds out there's nothing afoot, there's no crime occurring, they'll use a field interview report just to document a field interview, right? An interview in the field with a person. And that's in our RMS. So it's an official police report. From what I understand, and I got to be honest with the community and the council here, as I always do, I didn't even know what a gang field interview sheet was until this case came to my knowledge in March. And I contacted Prince George's County Police to start understanding what happened, what the interaction was, and started pulling reports to try to track all this down. So we don't use a gang field interview sheet. We don't have access to the county's gang field interview database or GangNet or whatever database or system they're using to track that information now. I only came to see this gang field interview sheet after this case went into made the national news.
Okay, I appreciate you sharing that we don't use that. So it sounds like PGPD does use that. And if they had filled out that sheet on all 4 people who were transported to be questioned about the murder that you mentioned, then it's possible that that's where this all started. That if somehow they interpreted Mr. Abrego Garcia as a gang member and they wrote down things on a gang field interview sheet, that they could have entered him into some kind of a database, and that could have been something that someone later looked up. But it doesn't sound like we in Hyattsville had something to do with that.
No, ma'am. And I wasn't there. Obviously, I wasn't even here in the city at that point in time. However,
Right.
I've dug as deep as I can into this, and I cannot find any record of ICE being on the scene that day. My understanding, without any speculation, is that this detective made the stop. Prince George's County Police was called as a result of that homicide investigation, and then all 4 individuals were taken back to PGPD's Division 1 station, which is right on Rhode Island Avenue here in Hyattsville. And that's as far as I could get. Then I have to go off of the information available from PGPD. They have not shared with me that they contacted ICE. I don't know how ICE became involved, but I can confirm that Hyattsville PD was not involved in any connection to ICE.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah, I
ma'am.
would just say that I used to do gang risk intervention and prevention work with young people. And we definitely tried to make sure that young people were not listed in any type of gang database, because if people do these types of field interview sheets, I don't know if there's any kind of a review process to assess the accuracy or fairness of what is entered into the system. And once it's entered, I don't know if there's anyone checking the accuracy. And so I would hope that we can focus there as a community, because that is, in my interpretation of everything I've read, that is what brought the attention of ICE to Mr. Abrego Garcia. And I don't think that whatever was entered on that gang field interview sheet was fair or just or accurate, or was at any time reviewed or verified. So, and I also wanted to just say and ask, Mr. Abrego Garcia is not a city of Hyattsville resident, correct? He lives somewhere else?
Correct. No, ma'am, he's not a City of Hyattsville resident. But I would like to add that in response to your statement, our field interview sheet that is an official police report and tracked in our records management system, because it is an official police report, it requires, after an officer drafts that report, it is required to be reviewed by a supervisor and then by our records department before it's finalized.
Thank you. And I would just hope that whoever's working on gang risk intervention and suppression for PGPD would go through their files and do better validation and verification so that things like this don't happen. Thank you.